Benvenuti a tutti.
Welcome everyone. I have the honor of presenting you Most Reverend Monsignor Cataldo, who will read on behalf of the Holy Father a message addressed to he's the ecclesiastic assistant of St. Peter's Circle. He's a Vatican prelate. On the occasion of the international conference HARMONIZE Williams Syndrome in Europe that takes place at the Pontifical Lateran University, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, addresses his cordial and welcoming greetings to the organizers, the speakers, the authorities who intervened, and all those present, expressing his deep appreciation for the appropriate meeting between the operators in the sectors and the families of the patients for a fruitful exchange of knowledge. His Holiness invokes the fullness of heavenly favors for an increasingly appropriate research and qualified assistance and care, putting the person and the respect for their dignity at the center. And while he asks to pray to support his ministry as Peter's successor, he gives you, the members of the Technical and Scientific Committee, and the participants in this meeting, the implored apostolic blessing, extending it with particular affection to the dear patients and their families. From the Vatican, on the 17th of October 2015, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State of His Holiness Pope Francis. I would just like to say a few words, of course not any comments to what the Holy Father stated so well, but I would like to specify what the Pope tells us. An increasingly appropriate research and qualified assistant, putting the person and the respect of their dignity at the center. And this is the task of all of us in every aspect of our existence, always putting the person and the dignity of the human person at the center of all of our thoughts, all of our efforts, and all of our help, of everything we are. The human being at the center, as Saint John Paul II taught us with his extraordinary magistry. Let's put Christ, the Redemptor of man, at the center, man with the dignity of his person. I would like to wish this meeting every success for an increasing in-depth analysis of this issue that we hold so dear. Thank you. Before we start our conference, we have our testimonial, Luca Barbareschi, who wanted to intervene here today. He followed us from the beginning of our association. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am pleased and proud of providing my contribution, and I hope to do so in the next few years with increasing passion for this initiative that Mr. Trolonia has started in 1996 in Spain, and with great courage with Professor Dalla Piccola, whom I had the honor of meeting, and other friends. I think it's something extremely important. I'm here today also wearing the hat of a theater expert and from the Eliseo Theater, who's been renewed, and it's important to be part of this association. There is a moment to give back in life. I had so much. I was very lucky. I had so many children. I received health, and I had access to knowledge and culture, and I would like the Eliseo Theater and all of my collaborators could be part of such an initiative to continue working, raise funds, and do everything that is done throughout the world when one feels one is part of a community. And at this difficult time for Rome, it's extremely important to be together among people that do something with passion and want to give back their time, their work to the city. So I would like to thank you. I'm not going to steal any time from people who are more competent than me in this field. I would like to hug virtually all those present, and I wish you every success.
Benvenuti al convegno internazionale.
Welcome to the Italian International Conference, Harmonize Williams Syndrome in Europe. I hope that this event can strengthen the international connection among the various associations that deal with Williams syndrome, and that it may guarantee to our patients an adequate quality of life. This conference is an opportunity to renew and extend in a European perspective the constant commitment in supporting patients and their families to tackle their daily lives with serenity, knowing that they are supported by facilities that take care of them and contribute to put in place a network of safety and human solidarity. Within this spirit, I would like to thank wholeheartedly the authorities intervened, the foreign and national speakers, the Pontifical Lateran University, who hosted us in this beautiful main hall, and the Bambin Gesù Hospital, and the various foundations and associations that I cannot fail to mention. Hwsie, the European Federation of Williams Syndrome, the Higher Institute for Health, Telethon, Uniamo, the Rome delegation of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, whom I wish every success because a new delegate has been elected to replace me, and to him all of our wishes are addressed. The Fondazione Riva dei Tarquini, Parco Ventura, Circolo San Pietro, the Centro Pieralice, and Parco Tirreno. To our members and associates, the Secretariat, and the person in charge for the event, Mr. Filippo Faniciotti, who greatly contributed to the success of this conference. I would like to highlight the 15th anniversary of Hwsie that was established in the year 2000 in Turin, and so far 17 European nations have adhered to it, and to them and to their new president, Camilla Lazar Livieratu, go our most sincere wishes for every success in the organizational and scientific and research fields. Thank you all, and I wish the proceedings every success. I now give the floor to Professor Dalla Piccola, representing the president of the Bambin Gesù Hospital. Dear President, dear friends, first of all, thank you, Dr. Tolonia, for involving the Bambin Gesù Hospital in organizing this meeting, and for the closeness that there's always been between the Italian Williams Syndrome Association and our hospital. I'm here today to bring you my greetings and the greetings of our President, Maria Elena, whom unfortunately is in Milan for a previous engagement and couldn't be with us. I believe that the reason why we have this closeness between the association and the Bambin Gesù is due to a series of reasons, mainly because we are a scientific care and treatment hospital. We're first in Italy, and Williams syndrome starts as a pediatric issue that can be transferred to adulthood. The interest is due to the fact that the Bambin Gesù Hospital every year sees the largest number of cases of rare patients, a little short of 10,000 patients, and it has dedicated a special outpatient facility for Williams syndrome managed by Maria Cristina Di Giglio, who is going to speak shortly to talk to us about her experience and the state of the art of this clinic. We are also a research hospital, a scientific hospital, and Bambin Gesù Hospital at the beginning of the 1990s, together with the Tor Vergata University. I was still at the Tor Vergata University with my pupil and now a genetist and Professor Giuseppe Tonelli. We were the first in Europe, as soon as the first indications on the genetics of this disease, we were among the first to set up a diagnostic tests, and we actively participated in promoting clinical activity around this condition. I would like to recall that the first worldwide Williams syndrome guidelines were developed by the Bambin Gesù Hospital, and then the hospital participated a few years back, together with the Manchester University Group and some British colleagues within the Shell European project, to develop some international guidelines to contribute and to be a point of reference. And I would like to recall the editorial activity of the Bambin Gesù Hospital together with the Association for Williams Syndrome. We published various books together with Professor Giannotti, who you saw here, together with Professor Vicari, to produce work on Williams syndrome, to produce CDs and also videos that are useful to explain the ABC of this condition, and they were translated into 3 languages. And one last thing I would like to recall is the commitment of our hospital, not only with reference to assistance, but also for patients' empowerment. And one of the aspects is socializing and and putting patients within working contexts. And we are committed, thanks to Professor Tolonia, in this type of activities. But this is the history. This is a piece of history that is still lively. Now we're looking at the present and the near future. You know that Europe is at a critical time, at a turning point for rare diseases. Some countries have built their networks for these diseases. Italy has been the first one to establish this center with 196 small centers for these rare diseases. Then there was France, and other countries have appeared. But with all the limits of this country, at least in the sector of rare diseases, Italy is doing extremely well. But what is going to happen in the next few months, the calls for tender will come out in May of next year, is the building of European reference networks, ERNs, that will enable to aggregate patients groups. In Italy, here is a little bit late, but the good news comes from the Health Ministry that yesterday established the committee that will meet for the first time on the 28th of October. It will last for 3 years and will have to manage the transition from nations to Europe. And groups of diseases such as Williams syndromes will be part of these networks because they are going to carry out important functions. First of all, sharing experiences, regulating cross-country migration of patients, and also funding research, because we believe that most probably the funding for research in rare diseases will go through these networks. So what I wanted to say is that we are strongly committed in this process, and I am convinced that Italy is going to do its part. And by way of conclusion, I would like to say that Bambin Gesù Hospital is very close to All Patients Association. I would like to recall the historical collaboration with the Uniamo Foundation, but the closeness, and I have to say it out loud here, with the Italian Association for Williams Syndrome. We are there for you, and we want to continue our pathway along these lines for the next years. Thank you. Professor Giuseppe Novelli, Rector of the Tor Vergata University. Mr. President, dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I am a bit moved to be here today, and also by the words of my master, Professor Dalla Piccola. I would like to thank him for inviting me and the Rome University Tor Vergata to be here. And I went back in memory lane when, at the end of the 1990s, 98, 99, our group, guided by Professor Dalla Piccola, identified the first genes besides elastin. And one of the works went into the Journal of Genetics, and identifying the taxin gene and other genes, and it's one of the most quoted works, papers in this field. And so the contribution of our school was useful to understand this disease. Among the various ways of thinking about science and thinking about everything that flows around us, scientific research is the only way to give an answer to all of our questions. I know no other way. Lewis Thomas defined science as a short maneuver to discover the world. I would say to discover ourselves. Science is the only way to favor integration, cooperation, the cultural exchanges, the economy, quality of life, and it's the most important thing for us. Progress. Progress has to be conquered day by day, and science, in order to favor progress, is in need for support by the society, by the patient's family, by these associations, because very often many other people whom exploit and use certain situations. I'm thinking about journalists or politicians or similar figures. They call science into question, and this is a huge danger. In Italy, movements that are against science are emerging, and I'm concerned about them, and not only I am. You've just seen the contention about vaccinations. There are colleagues, pediatricians, that do not recommend at all vaccinations. There are cases of polio that are starting to increase, and this creates confusion among the families, among people. And if today a person has a genetic disease or a diagnosis of they log on to the internet and they try to get information, but they get frightened because the first information they find is wrong. They find guidelines, as Professor Dalla Piccola was saying, that are made empirically without any validation. So this creates great problems. it's as if we have delegated this task to others, but it's our task because we are science, you are science, and this is a crucial issue. There was a recipe that one of our colleagues said, in order to favor Nobel Prize laureates, you need a large population, a large economic growth, a large high education, and a large number of patents, and I would say a great support by the families and the families associations for research and culture. And I think you are doing this job, and you are continuing to do so, and that is why I thank you.
E adesso il presidente della...
And now the FUSE president has the floor.
Hello, everybody. As you can see there, my name is Camelia Lazar, and besides being the president of the European Federation of Williams Syndrome Associations, I'm also the proud mother of an 11-year-old daughter with Williams syndrome, and I am also the president of the Romanian Williams Syndrome Association. I would like to start by thanking the Italian Association for organizing this event and making it possible for patients and scientists from all over Europe to get together and exchange ideas, exchange facts and efforts on the path of harmonizing Williams syndrome across borders. I am a strong believer in a no-border policy when it comes to health in general and to rare diseases in particular. My child was the first Romanian child diagnosed genetically in Romania at a very young age, and that was because we sent blood to UK. My husband is Greek, so for the first 5 years of her life, we went to Greece 2 to 4 times a year for medical treatment and for various diagnoses. Before starting our own association, we were members of the UK Association. We went again to UK to see Professor Carmelo Smith when we got stuck with her therapies. And I was so keen to meet other children, other people with Williams syndrome, so we got to do that during the European camp in Hungary in 2006. We have Williams children in our associations that had had heart surgery in Italy and in Germany. So in my perception, lots of children may benefit from this international expertise. When I was invited to this conference and I saw the title, I looked it up in the dictionary, and it said there that harmonize means to be in agreement in action, in sense, or in feelings. So this was the dream that united the founder member of FUSE 15 years ago, Italy being one of the first 4 to have had this vision, along with Ireland, Hungary, and UK. Much progress has been made in the scientific field since then. What makes me happy, though, is to witness a lot of progress lately in terms of cross-border communication and cooperation in the best interest of Williams syndrome patients and their families. But in order to achieve more, we need to increase these efforts. We need to collaborate not only in the scientific field, but also in the social field and in the field of emotions. Health is important, but quality of life in all its aspects of the people affected by this syndrome should be a priority. I like to think of it as a new dance with various steps. There are people that learn fast and others that learn slower. But if we dance it long enough, there will come a time when we will all learn the steps and dance together in harmony. Thank you.